China rejects Apple Macdonald's. Why are U.S. companies struggling in China? The untouchable symbol of American business success is quietly losing ground in one of the world's most important markets. China isn't temporarily isolated, it's spreading and accelerating. What was once a land of limitless opportunity for Western brands is becoming a proving ground for their survival. The balance of global economic power is rapidly tilting, and China is reshaping the rules. This is no longer just a competitive threat, it's a global transformation. The impact will reverberate through industries worldwide, from technology and finance to trade. And China's culture has changed. Once primarily known as the world's factory, it's now a hub of innovation, ambition, and growing influence. Chinese companies, once seen as copycats, are now redefining the game, setting trends that influence global consumer behavior and overtaking giants like Huawei, Xiaomi, and Luckin Coffee. They're not just rising stars, they're leaders, and their rapid rise is being followed at the expense of Western icons. Huawei, once eclipsed by American tech companies, is now leading the charge in fields like 5G and artificial intelligence. When the U.S. imposed sanctions, it wasn't just a weather shock. It became a national icon. Chinese consumers haven't backed down. They're leaning into buying Huawei. It's become more than just a transaction. It's become an act of pride after the boycott. Its domestic market share has increased by 30%, driven by a wave of patriotic support. That's not just brand loyalty. It's loyalty to a national cause. This isn't an isolated case. Oppo, Xiaomi, and Luckin Coffee are all rapidly rising in a sector long dominated by Apple. Starbucks and McDonald's are also vying for smarter, more relevant alternatives. They understand the market, speak to local values, and offer real value. Now Apple's powerful combination of affordability, quality, and nationalism, once seen as the pinnacle of innovation and luxury, is increasingly out of reach for everyday Chinese consumers. While still charging a premium, competitors like Vivo offer similar technology at a fraction of the cost, and they don't cut corners. These devices are stylish, capable, and universally reliable. In fact, a McKinsey study showed that 62% of Chinese consumers now prioritize value over brand prestige. Why pay more for a foreign name when local options are just as good? If the perception of quality isn't any better, has changed dramatically. Younger Chinese consumers, particularly those under 35, now see local brands as equal to or even superior to Western brands. In fact, 55% of consumers surveyed said they trust domestic brands as much or more than foreign ones. The shift in mindset is a seismic shift for a company like Apple, which once easily dominated China's premium market. Now it faces competitors that know the local landscape better and are more agile in meeting demand. But price and quality aren't the whole story. There are deeper forces at play. Nationalism and identity have become a powerful driver of consumer behavior amid rising tensions between China and the West, particularly in the United States. Many young consumers are using their wallets to express their values. About 80% of them say they want to buy from Chinese brands as a way to support their economies and reduce their dependence on the West. This isn't just about shopping, it's about sovereignty, pride, and ownership. The future of a country. Many people choose products from Huawei, Xiaomi, or Luckin. It's more than just features and price. It's a statement of rejection of foreign influence, a declaration that Chinese innovation no longer needs to be borrowed from the West. It stands on its own. And under all this is the pressure of everyday economics. The cost of living in major cities like Beijing and Shanghai has climbed significantly since 2022. The average cost of goods and housing has increased by about 15%, squeezing consumers and shifting purchasing priorities. In this environment, people are becoming more cautious about spending. They want quality, but they also want affordability. That's where local brands are winning decisively. McDonald's and Starbucks, once seen as sleek, Western-inspired icons, are now being outmaneuvered by domestic players who offer better value without compromising the coffee experience. Luckin, for example, has seriously undercut Starbucks on prices while expanding rapidly. As a result, it has captured a 30% increase in market share in just a year. It's no longer a battle of prestige, it's a battle of value and relevance. This is the reality foreign brands face in China. Their heritage status is no longer enough. Their price tags no longer justify it. Their cultural stamp is fading. And if they don't evolve rapidly, they'll continue to lose ground to domestic competitors that are faster, sharper, and more in tune with Chinese consumers. The landscape has changed, the rules have changed, and new leaders aren't looking westward. They're looking ahead to a world where economies are developing at lightning speed. American brands hoping to thrive in China are discovering that competing on price and quality is just the beginning. Even if they can win in those areas, they're still battling something much more complex. China's regulatory grip is tightening. In recent years, Beijing has introduced a slew of new policies that make it increasingly difficult to operate as a foreign company. Take Apple and Tesla, for example. They're now required to store user data within Chinese borders. This seemingly simple mandate has spiraled into a logistical and financial nightmare, forcing companies like Apple to completely overhaul their data infrastructure just to comply. The price tag isn't just about the money. These new rules raise serious cybersecurity and ethical concerns, all while local Chinese companies, disregarding the same restrictions, gain a significant home field advantage. This regulatory pressure creates a clear choice: comply with the great costs or exit the market altogether. For some Western brands, the sheer weight of compliance has begun to outweigh the potential rewards. But the challenges don't stop there. American companies must also contend with a cultural shift, one that is redefining consumer expectations, particularly around sustainability. In today's China, sustainability isn't just a buzzword, it's a deeply held value, particularly among younger consumers. 30s are transforming the market with their preferences, according to a study by Greenpeace China. Nearly 3/4 of young Chinese consumers actively seek out brands that demonstrate true environmental responsibility. If a brand isn't seen as part of the solution, it risks being left out as part of the problem. Some companies are taking notice. Nike, for example, launched a move to zero in on its initiatives in China, focusing on reducing waste and embracing sustainable materials. That move resonates strongly with environmentally conscious young shoppers who expect the brands they support to actually deliver, not just promises. But again, even that isn't enough, because in China, consumers want more than sustainable products or compliant data practices. They want connection. This is where many American brands falter. Success in China requires more than just entering the market with localized goods. It requires emotional connection. It means building a relationship that's deeper than just a transaction, rooted in cultural awareness and authentic storytelling. Apple has shown how effective this approach can be, particularly with its Chinese New Year campaign, featuring emotionally charged short films and thoughtful visuals. Apple isn't just selling phones, it's tapping into shared experiences, family values, and cultural pride. McDonald's has also embraced this strategy, revamping its menu to reflect regional tastes and launching tech-savvy innovations like AI-powered kiosks and facial recognition payments, demonstrate an understanding of local habits and expectations. Yet the complexities of the Chinese market don't end with national trends. It's a country with regional diversity, and what makes customers happy in Shanghai might fall flat in Chongqing. Brands that ignore these differences do so at their own risk. Coca-Cola, for example, has successfully localized its offering, launching a Sichuan-flavored cola tailored to regional preferences. But it's not just about product innovation, it's about cultural sensitivity. A mistake in this arena can quickly turn into a
facial
public
recognition
relations
payments,
disaster.
showing an understanding
Just
of
ask
local
Dolce &
habits and
Gabbana,
expectations.
which faced
Yet the
massive
complexity of the
backlash
Chinese
after an
market
aggressive
doesn't end with
advertising
national
campaign
trends.
completely
It's a
missed the
vast,
cultural
regionally
mark.
diverse
On the
country,
flip side,
and what delights
Coca-Cola's
customers
careful
in
engagement
Shanghai
with
might fall
Chinese
flat
New
in
Year
Chengdu.
traditions has
Brands
paid
that
off,
ignore these
leading to a
differences do so at
20%
their own
increase
risk.
in brand loyalty
Coca-Cola,
in
for
just
example,
3
has
years.
successfully
All
localized
this
its
points to a
offerings,
simple
launching
truth.
Sichuan-flavored
Competing in
cola
China
tailored to
isn't
regional
just about market
preferences.
share,
But this
it's
isn't
about
just about
relevance,
product innovation.
identity, and
It's about
trust.
cultural
For
sensitivity.
American giants
Missteps in
like
this arena
Apple,
can quickly turn
McDonald's,
into
and the
PR
rest of us,
disasters.
the pressure
Just
to
ask
evolve
Dolce &
has never
Gabbana,
been
who
greater.
faced massive
They're not just
backlash after an
navigating
offensive
economic
ad
trends
campaign
or
that missed the
regulatory
cultural mark
frameworks,
entirely.
they're operating
On the
within
flip
a
side,
living,
Coca-Cola's
breathing
thoughtful
cultural
engagement
landscape
with
that
Chinese New Year
requires
traditions
constant
has paid off,
adaptation to
leading
succeed.
to a 20%
They'll need to
boost in
become
brand
more
loyalty over
agile,
just 3
more
years.
insightful,
All of this
and more
points to
in
a simple
tune with
truth.
what Chinese
The
consumers
competition in
truly care
China
about.
is no longer just
This
about
isn't
market
just a
share.
business challenge.
It's about
It's a
identity,
global test
relevance,
of
and
adaptability.
trust.
Will
For
these
American
Western
giants
brands
like
learn
Apple,
fast enough to
McDonald's, and
keep up,
others,
or
the
will
pressure
they
to
be
evolve has never
overtaken
been
by
greater.
homegrown
They're not
competitors
just
who
navigating
intuitively
economic trends or
understand the
regulatory
landscape?
frameworks.
The outcome
They're
won't just
operating within
determine
a
the
living,
future of these
breathing
companies,
cultural
it could
landscape
determine the
that
global
demands
balance
constant
of brand
adaptation.
power for
To
decades to
succeed, they'll
come.
need to be more
One
agile,
thing's for
more
sure, the
insightful,
race is
and
on
far
and the
more in
clock
tune
is
with what
ticking.
Chinese consumers really care about. This isn't just a business challenge, it's a test of global adaptability. Will these Western brands learn fast enough to keep pace, or will they be overtaken